Hi everybody, my name is Heather. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing how to create these really pretty wax paper flowers, and they are so simple to make. They're beautiful, and with the Christmas season upon us, I was making some for some gifts that I was going to send, so I thought I would go ahead and share how I made them. I had originally learned how to make these a long time ago from my friend Lori Oles. She had a tutorial, I believe it was in Somerset Life, stamping tin magazine, and I just love making these. I make them sometimes whenever I want to add a little extra something to a package. So you need some wax paper, some parchment paper, and also some pattern paper. So like that brown, like sewing pattern paper. These are all the things that I used, but you could use any papers. You could even use digitals that you cut. You could use tissue paper. You could use like any kind of papers. We're basically just layering papers. And then I also am using a little bit of this gold netting that I got at the craft store, just like some tulle. And basically what you do is you take the wax paper and the parchment paper are kind of, one is more see-through than the other. So that first bundle is parchment paper, and then the second bundle is wax paper, and then those are the pattern paper. And so you're just going to cut yourself some circles, and like the wax paper, you can see that you can kind of see through it, but the parchment paper is more crinkly. And so just like the different textures within the flower really make it look so pretty once it's all done. So each circle measures about 3 inches. You can see that they are completely not perfect. So if you're trying to make perfect circles, you will go crazy making this. So don't get too hung up on perfect circles, because once it's all together, you don't notice the imperfections. And then you're just going to take you're going to take a piece of wax paper, and I'm just going to show you how you can get quite a few circles at one time instead of doing them one at a time. So just fold your wax paper into sections, and you could do as many sections as you can get your scissors through. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just folding it over twice, and then just take your scissors and cut off any extra there, and then fold it to make a square the size of, where you can cut out a circle. So basically you're layering your paper, and then once you cut your circle, you're going to have, I think, 6 or 8 circles there all at one time. And like I said, you could layer more wax paper at one time if you can cut through it with your scissors. So I just used one of my circles that I had already cut out as my template. So that's a good idea to kind of just give yourself like a 3-inch circle and then use it as a template. So once you have your circles cut out, you can see those are not at all perfect. And I'm just going to crinkle each one of those up to give it a little bit of texture so that it, like when the flower is layered, it kind of, those wrinkles will make it puff up a little bit. So these flowers would be so pretty, like even on the front of a journal, or if you're wrapping up a journal to give to someone, you could put one on the outside of a package. And they're just so easy to make because they're just using just everyday items. So I have a few little circles there that I cut out of that dotted Swiss. And then there's the gold tulle. And you can see those are definitely not perfect circles. I just kind of cut to where they would be almost the same size, but I liked the idea that they would be kind of poking out. And then you're just going to take all these little circles and we're going to layer them. So I believe that each flower has around 15 layers. Oh, so, and you're also going to need some little brads and also an awl tool. So that's what I'm using to make, and Fabri-Tac glue. That's everything that you need to make this project. So yeah, so take different papers and start layering them. So like the bottom was parchment paper. Now I'm putting 3 layers of wax paper. I'm crinkling as I go. And then I'm going to put some brown pattern paper. And every time I'm just going to crinkle as I go. And then put a little bit of that tulle. Like you could also add fabrics whatever. And then I'm adding more wax paper now. So I think that the total amount of layers is about 15. So I just kind of randomly choose different papers. I wanted to have that little bit of brown peeking through on the layers. And another thing is I use a lot more wax paper than I do parchment paper because I really like the way that looks. And then I put my dotted Swiss there on the top because I wanted to see that from the top. And then I'm cutting that little circle just a little bit smaller so that I can see that dotted Swiss kind of underneath and all the other layers. So like if you just cut that top circle just a little bit smaller than the others. And then just kind of go around and like smush it together so that the circles are all kind of even, and take your awl tool and poke a little hole through, but don't go too big. You just want to poke it enough that you can get the brad through. And then you're going to take a brad and put it down through that hole that you just kind of put in there. And then just secure it on the back by, closing the little wings of the brad on the bottom of the flower. So that would allow you to have a flat flower that you could actually glue to something. And that kind of makes it nice for presents or gift giving or whatever. And then I'm just going to go through those layers and kind of scrunch them. I'm later going to go back and like unscrunch them, but that kind of helps to puff up your flower a little bit. So just like kind of get your fingers in there and like scrunch all those papers. And you can see how the layers are all coming together, where you can see like a little bit of that brown, and then you could see a little bit of the tulle and the white, and the parchment and the wax papers are both kind of different textures. So it just gives such a pretty look in the end. These would be really pretty for weddings as well. Like maybe you might not want to use the wax or the pattern paper. Like you could use something a little less vintage if that's like not the theme of the wedding, you know what I mean? So yeah, you could do like a whole bunch of things with this process. So you're basically just gonna just kind of go back and fix all your little petals. And then everything is kind of like puffy on the side now, which is so pretty. It looks like a little cupcake or something to me. So then I was using these rhinestone buttons that I had. I got a lot of them at Hobby Lobby, and they just on the button cards in the sewing section. So I'm using my Fabri-Tac glue because Fabri-Tac glue adheres metal. So I just, tucking that little button in the center there. And then on a few of them, I added a little millinery flower together with the button. You can see like up in that left corner, some of those ones have little millinery flowers in there too. So you could just kind of use your imagination. I was thinking like printables might be pretty too. Like if you cut out circles of certain patterns or whatever, if you don't have any tissue, pattern tissue paper, like you could even use your printables. So yeah, so I'm just going to go through again and make a second one for you to see here, and just following that same process of just layering all different bits. I kind of have a system of like parchment paper, then 3 wax papers, then a brown pattern tissue paper, and then the, what's it called? Tulle. Yeah, that's kind of my system. So yeah, so I was going to use these as I'm making gifts for some people, and I was going to use these little flowers on their gifts. So I just think they turned out so cute. I love how they look. I love the like little bit of vintage feel they have, and they're just so fun and easy to make. You could sit here and make a million of them. You could do the same thing with your pattern tissue paper too, like layer it up and then cut out your circles so that you can cut like a bunch of circles at one time. So you're not doing, one circle at a time. So yeah, so just kind of push your papers together to kind of keep your circle shape and use your finger to hold it in place, and then use your awl tool and poke the hole through, and then get your brad and put it through that little center. So cute. I just love this project. And then I'm just going to go ahead and kind of squish those little papers in the middle. Yeah, and if it gets too flat, you know, all you have to do is just get in there and squish around a little bit, and then it'll puff right back up. But definitely, before you layer your papers, make sure you wrinkle each one prior to, because otherwise you'll just have a very flat flower. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that little rhinestone button and glue that in the middle. And I think it took me like about an hour to make all of those flowers, like from cutting out the circles to having them all completely done. So you could literally mass make these if you wanted to. So there is our little flower. So cute. So in a second here, I'm going to show you, I have a little gift wrapped, and look how cute all those little layers look on the side. I love that so much. It just looks like, you know, like a little layered cupcake or something. Yeah, so in about a second, I'm going to show you this gift that I have wrapped, and I'm going to put one of these flowers on top of that and give it as a gift. So I think that is so cute. Yeah, it's just so simple. So, and like literally for pennies, it doesn't cost anything. It's like so expensive to go buy a gift at this, or a gift bow at the store, so you guys could make your own, and it's literally just pennies. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope that you guys will make some for yourself, and I'll see you later.